The part on there where you show that it's vital that the student is able to perform, let's say, a task at B1 before he or she can move on to C2. How does that fit into the idea that, I mean, isn't there also the idea that we teach the highest form of whatever the brain will then go back and fill in? I'm going somewhere with this. So I'm sorry, but you understand where I am so far? It's like the idea of you teach you teach, for lack of a better term, the strangest form of a word. The most, you teach doesn't. You don't teach to do, you teach doesn't, and hypothetically the brain can then go backward and fill in all the other forms eventually. That, then, what we're saying is that we have to be so unbelievably careful that everything that we're giving the students is level.
One of the reasons why I think in most European educational systems the maximum learning outcome is around the A2 level for production, but probably also reception, is that if you start from the descriptors for A1 and then move on. I mean, what have you got in A1? You've got words and phrases that are put together in a very primitive and preliminary kind of way in order to make very simple assertions or requests or get various kinds of support. I mean, it's very, very, very much survival oriented. And then at A2 level, what you've got are lots of routines for transaction and interaction that can be developed on a slot and filler basis. And what happens in most L2 education systems that I've ever come across is that those things are taught as goals through the L1. In other words, the kids are taught words and phrases like, my son's experience of being taught German. I mean, he learned hello and goodbye, he learned to count, he learned the days of the week and the months of the year, he learned to ask simple questions, I mean, that kind of stuff. And then, and the kind of interactions that are envisaged for A2 are quite limited in their scope. And again, they can be taught as scenarios with translation equivalents and so on. The problem is that most language teaching never goes beyond that, and you never get to the point where the target language is the preferred medium of what's going on in the classroom. Now, if you, on the other hand, adopt pedagogical approaches that put the target language at the center of classroom communication from the beginning, with all the kinds of scaffolding that are necessary, A1 level descriptors are not learning targets, they're just things that happen. Because the discourse that the teacher is handing out is sort of B1 plus, and it's a matter of drawing the kids gradually up through it. And that's the kind of effect that I think we're seeing here. It's not what the teacher should be doing to teach, it's how these children are gradually being able to involve themselves in the processes.
I was foreseeing these hyper-specific levels of scaffolding that we're going to require.
No. But thank you for that question, because that enabled me to clarify that.